Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon, guys. Welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel, where the team news has dropped and Erik ten Hag has decided to throw up a couple of little surprises for us. In terms of from the 11 that we had predicted yesterday, Christian Eriksen comes into the side in midfield. You know, no Ugarte, but that's interesting. We need to figure out which way around they're going to play. But also, Marcus Rashford is not in the starting 11. Now, I don't see that as him being dropped. I see it as rotation. But again, it is certainly a talking point, and we need to kind of discuss in this stream basically how that is going to play out. But before all of that, get in the chat. Let me know how you guys are doing, how you're feeling in general heading towards this game. But in particular, this 11. What do you make of the team that Erik ten Hag has gone for? In terms of for Crystal Palace, we had them spot on, apart from Lerma coming into midfield alongside Adam Wharton. Perhaps someone defensively a bit more solid. But it's interesting because I did not have this starting 11 coming out for Manchester United. This is not what I was expecting. So there are a couple of things to talk about. Get in the chat and let me know basically your immediate thoughts. Is there anyone you are incredibly shocked not to see there or to see there? Who we got in the chat? We got Valza, we got Nev. Good to see you guys. Yusuf, Mr. Rowe, we got Ghost, we got Trey, we got loads of people in the chat. Good to see you all. Hope you guys are good. What are the general thoughts early on? Eriksen question mark. Yeah, I mean, straight away, that's certainly a thought on it. A little bit shocking. He's just played 2 games in the space of 4 days. I'm a little bit surprised to see him in there again. I'm not sure about the midfield. We'll discuss it in a second. I'm not too sure on it. What else have we got in there? I never thought I'd see no Rashford. It's interesting, right? 2 games, he's just done well, back-to-back games. To then bringing him out of the team seems a little bit odd. But there was something that we suggested the other day. We done a stream yesterday, and what we said Erik ten Hag has the potential to do is make sure none of his wingers play more than 2 games in a row. So what you can do is you can go Garnacho Ahmad play, then you can take Ahmad out and do this, Garnacho Rashford. But now Garnacho's played 2 in a row, then you bring Ahmad in, then you take Rashford out, you get Garnacho in. You could do that realistically, and I believe, if I'm correct, we have done that over the past 7 days now. Because last week it was this, Rashford and Ahmad. Then midweek we brought Garnacho in, and now this weekend we're taking Rashford out. So none of them have started more than 2 games in the last 7 days, which is a little bit of interesting management from Ten Hag. I wonder if that's why he's done it, or is there something tactical there? Is there something he's noticed? I'm not too sure. You agree with the starting 11 except for Christian Eriksen. Going to be interested in midfield. It might leave us a little bit leggy. I like the lineup. If we get overrun, then Eriksen moves forward and Bruno takes over defensively till half-time, possibly. Ahmad owns the right wing. It's not bad, is it? It's not bad. Not comfortable with that midfield. Not a fan, to be honest. A lack of legs. I completely agree with that. Although I think I can see the tactical reasons. Easier to overload wide areas with Eriksen. So that was a big theme. Was it midweek or was it at the weekend? I think it was last weekend. What we saw a lot of was Eriksen pulling wider of the shape out here. And I wonder if this is something that we might try and utilise. Now, we spoke about this on the stream yesterday. And if you give me a second, I will try and find the clips. Where are they? Where are they? Where are they? There was something that we were speaking about where if you drop outside of the Palace shape, you can actually have a little bit of luck. Let's quickly move over to it here. So you got Palace initially going to press with a front 3, right? We've got the 3 there. And Chelsea in this game, what they would often do was drop Caicedo, done it quite regularly. He would drop into the back 4. On this occasion, it's not Caicedo, it's someone else. But he done it fairly regularly. And Crystal Palace did struggle with this at times. Now, United could naturally do this, starting with a back 4. We have those 4 players. But also what we could do at times is, for example, we could push Dalot a little bit higher to try and take someone back. It might be Nketiah, for example. And then drop Eriksen outside of the space. And kind of have him as that free man who actually gets a decent amount of touches on the ball, but he's not receiving it in tight areas in the middle. I wonder if we almost use him at times to pull out a little bit. Dalot could even invert, for example. But I wonder if the play might be get Eriksen pulling outside of the shape, you know, where you get a bit more time on the ball. And then we've got his passing range, a passing range which largely in this team is lacking. I wonder if that might be the play there. I'm not sure. Dropping Rashford is just weird. It's a little bit odd. It's a little bit odd. David, good to see you, mate. How you doing? How you doing? I see Eze getting past Eriksen for a shot on our goal. Scary scenes. Thoughts on the Ugarte situation? I expected him to start. We predicted in the stream yesterday that he would start. But what I will say is, I thought he would start. I'm not massively shocked that he hasn't. Ten Hag kind of made a couple of comments towards the end of the week where he was making comments about Ugarte still needing time to understand the role and things like that he's going to be asked, obviously playing for a new club. So I thought he would start. I would be lying if I said, you know, I was massively shocked by it, but it's interesting. No legs in the midfield. Eriksen will get mauled if Palace are up for it. My concern is Eze in the half space. This is why I wanted Ugarte to play. I felt that over short distances, those two as a matchup, Ugarte was ideal for that, in my opinion. I thought that would happen. But it hasn't happened. And if it's Eriksen or Kobe, I'm slightly more concerned. Have I got the team wrong? Oh, wait, when I put Lerma in, was that in the possible lineups, not their actual lineup? Okay, you can blame SofaScore for that. Who is it they've got instead, sorry? Going to be huge gaps in the midfield again. It'll be interesting to see if we try and press with this midfield. Really interesting to see, because naturally we don't have one there who's going to win a lot of the ball. It's Kamada in the side, so how does that affect the setup and the formation? What do we reckon? Not sure what number he is. Do we know what number he is, guys? I'm slightly concerned about how much protection Eriksen is going to get in that midfield. There's a lack of legs in there. There's a lack of mobility and athleticism, certainly. Number 18, perfect. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate you. Our midfield will be run over. We have two CDMs sitting on the bench. Going to be a big score loss. That's the positive vibe I was looking for. Let's go back to looking at some of the reasons why it could actually work. Right. Chelsea done it really effectively. They turn it into a back four. Now what you can do here is, because Palace have a front three, if you play with a back four, ultimately each player is kind of in between picking up two players, which means you can kind of fairly easily move the ball round the side of Crystal Palace. And then the player on the far side, this could be a right back for example, is going to have that room to step forward into this space and move it forward. That's something that United could look to do. What's also useful though is if you take quite a patient approach. Again, you build with this back four. And with Crystal Palace having a front three, if you move the ball one way like this, they like to try and lock you onto one side. You can see that here. The front three feel that they have that chance to go aggressive and almost man-to-man. So they move like this. But actually, they do leave that spare man on the other side. So if you can show a little bit of quality on the ball, then you can move around to the other side. And then you get room to take the ball and move it further forward. This is something that United could be looking at. Again, if Christian Eriksen is then dropping into a pocket like here somewhere, that could be useful. If we just play this on a few seconds. The space that you can move into there, we're not going to show too much, we don't want to get copyrighted. There is a space there that United could try and work with. I think Dalot could be quite good at driving there as well. Mazraoui on the other side. Do you add these animations yourself? Yeah, this is all made by me using the software Once Video Analyzer. Make sure to check it out, it's really good. Is there a link in the description? Not today, but it's really good. I recommend you check it out. Do you think we win, AJ? I'm reasonably confident. The team news has caught me off guard a little bit and left me like a little bit, just kind of knocked me back a little bit in terms of the thinking going into this game. But I'm still fairly confident about it. Are we on 300 viewers right now? Oh, we absolutely love that, guys. If you are here and if you are enjoying it, leave a like. And if you're absolutely hating it, if you put a thumbs up, that lets me know as well. So either way, leave a like. It'd be greatly appreciated. It really helps. So please, if you could, it would be great. What makes me optimistic is that we are in good form for the first time in a good while. That good form and positive psychology is huge. There's a big thing in football and in life. Confidence. Confidence. We saw it in the second half against Southampton, where first half we struggled a little bit. Technically even, we were a little bit shaky at times on the ball. But suddenly we score a couple of goals, we start to look a little bit better. The players relax. It's like the weight is taken off their shoulders. And suddenly you can start to express yourself on the ball a little bit. And we've got players in here where when they're expressing themselves, they're dangerous. Zirkzee, Bruno, Garnacho, Ahmad for starters. Those guys playing with a freedom is exactly what United need. It's exactly what Ten Hag needs in this game. Following that result up with the 7-0 in midweek. Again, I know we were playing lesser opposition. But as a forward, Marcus Rashford for example, scoring a goal is big. As Garnacho, getting 4 goal contributions, it's huge. Bruno Fernandes, 2 assists. Players thrive off of that. And you know, when you're playing well, you've got a bit of positive energy, you're scoring goals, you're winning a couple of matches, you will notice fatigue seems to set in way less. You got more energy the second you're scoring goals. And you just got confidence. That's exactly what this United team needs and has lacked for a long time. Hopefully now we've got a chance to build something. It's why I think today is such a big game. I'm not going to put, all the weight of the world on it. It's not if we lose, season's over. It's nothing like that. But a win would be a really big moment for us. Have we got the league table? We have here. This hasn't been updated today with the live scores going on. This was before the start of the weekend. If we can get ourselves to 9 points, just move into most likely the top 7 in that area on the back of 3 wins, if we could get a clean sheet against something like that, it's a really big chance. It's a really big chance for United to build something here. Someone said about Casemiro starting. I'm pretty sure he's not unless something's changed, unless there's been an injury. Oh, we also have, it's not Klein, it's Richards. It's also Richards at the back, which is interesting. More of a centre-back. That might change how they build up from the back, we'll see. Palace would be fools like Southampton if they don't take advantage of this midfield. You see, the thing is, I know we look at that Manchester United midfield and we go, it's lacking legs a little bit, right? It is, I completely agree. If we look at the Crystal Palace midfield, I'm not going to sit here and say it's the most athletic midfield I've ever seen. Wharton, for example, is a good player, but he's not someone who absolutely munches ground up all over the pitch. I couldn't tell you too much about Kamada. I don't actually know a lot about his game, but I don't think he's the biggest, most athletic player. So I'm not expecting that sort of match where there's a lot of driving through the middle, unless this man's getting on the ball. He's the danger. He's the danger. What way round do you guys reckon Eriksen and Kobe play? Obviously, naturally, it's a game of football. They're not going to be fixed to one position. They'll drift across the pitch. They'll move side to side. They'll swap positions. But largely, what way round do you think it will be? I think Eriksen goes to the left. I think it just suits him better. We saw it a lot in Ten Hag's first season. Eriksen pulling into this position and playing quite well. I think we see that. And I think Bruno, again, he'll be given a lot of license to roam, but I would imagine he would drop right side a little bit more. I wonder if we're trying to get Dalot forward. I wonder if this idea of Eriksen pulling outside, does it give Dalot a license to get forward? Are we trying to get Garnacho narrower, or certainly just combining down this side? We've obviously seen down the right, Ahmad and Mazraoui have combined really well early in the season. We're yet to really get it going down the left, obviously partly because we don't really have a left back. But I wonder if there is this intention to get Dalot a little bit further forward. Possibly. Eriksen is probably the least mobile midfielder in the league, though. I think that's a fair point. My view is Eriksen is going to play in a sort of cruise role on the left, deeper, handling ball progression. What we also saw last week, and we have to remember this, is the fullbacks tucking a little bit more. Mazraoui in particular often moved into midfield. I wonder if we could see, again, it's a Ten Hag shape. We have to remember it will always change. But I wonder if we could see at times this sort of build-up structure. I wonder if we could see a shape which looks a little bit like that. Not sure. Could have gone with Casemiro and Ugarte. We need to be solid. Yeah, again, Ugarte, I would just imagine it's managing a new player. I doubt he's been dropped or anything like that. I would imagine it's just managing a new player at the club. So I wouldn't look too much into it. Ideally, he starts this game, and when he's fully up to speed, I think he starts every game. But for now, he doesn't. I think it's an interesting point, though, by the way, that Ugarte doesn't start, and Casemiro still doesn't start either. That's a message to me that Casemiro isn't going to be viewed as a starter this season. Because I think if he was, he would be playing this sort of football match. So I think we are now kind of phasing him out of the team a little bit. That's what this team suggests to me. Perhaps I'm wrong. I like Mainu closer to Eze. Yeah, just a little bit more mobility about him, honey, for sure. Really not confident with this lineup. What is it for people? Because I'm seeing a few people giving a similar vibe. What is it about the lineup that has you worried? Is it the midfield? Is it the midfield? The one thing I would suggest is, if you're going for that team, that midfield in particular, surely, maybe I'm off with this, but surely we are going to look to get on the ball and sort of control and dominate it. Obviously, some of that will be affected by how Palace play. We're not too sure how that will look. But I would expect we're going to try and get on the ball. A bit like we did against Southampton. That we're going to want I wouldn't go as far as control because we know what Ten Hag's like. But I would imagine we want more of the ball than them. And it'll be interesting to see how that works. Because if you look at Palace, their 4 games so far this season, they're yet to get a win in the Premier League. It's not been a good start for them. They've played 4. In 3 of them, they've conceded 2. Now, the 3 in which they conceded 2 goals, Palace actually had more of the ball than the opposition, were the more aggressive team and pressed higher up the pitch. In the game where they only conceded 1 against Chelsea, Crystal Palace left the high press, were actually quite passive on that front line, and sat into more of a mid, turning into a low block. So it's really interesting to see what approach Palace take here. If they go for the high press, we know that we might have problems with that because we've seen it in the past. We have some problems playing through the press. But if we can do it effectively, I think this is a Palace team that you can get at. I think you can hurt them. If they do sit off more like this, into more of the block, then it might be a difficult day. It might be a slow day where it's difficult to move the ball through the lines and actually properly break them down. But it does suggest we might have more control. Not sure. It's difficult. It's difficult. Mainu will hang more as a 6 with the centre-backs pushing higher. Yeah, that's one thing I'm a little bit disappointed about with this lineup. The lack of, like you said, powerhouse midfielder, the destroyer, the ground cover. It does mean that Kobbie's going to have to play fairly deep. He can do a job there. I like him there. I think he's good. I just prefer him higher. I just prefer him higher. Ban me. I'm alright, thanks. By the way, guys, we're on 476 viewers, which is insane. If you're new to the channel, if you could subscribe, that would be absolutely amazing. You would make my day. If you could subscribe, your name will pop up somewhere on the screen. I'm not sure where exactly. So you get to see your name. It's kind of cool, I guess. But if you could subscribe, it would be a huge help. Also, if you could leave a like on the stream, it pushes the stream to more people. And then the more people that see it, the better streams we can do. So that combination is great. So if you wouldn't mind, it would be unbelievably appreciated. It really would. But if not, I'll let you off. I'll let you off. I'd love to see a game we really control, but it's not what Ten Hag wants. Yeah. If Palace press high, this is going to be a high-scoring game. The Palace press, if they went for it, would be a really interesting challenge. A really interesting challenge for United, because when you play with a back 3, which turns into a back 5, I think people assume it's a defensive structure, which doesn't let you get pressure on the ball, but it's actually not the case. It couldn't be much further from the truth. If you play in this 3-4-3, if you want to, see, look, you see your name if you subscribe. That's great, right? If you want to in a 3-4-3, you can go really aggressive. I don't know if Palace will. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see. But you can go really aggressive with the ball like that. You can go after teams. It'll be interesting. We've got Shane with the donation. Thank you very much, sir. Very much appreciated. Guys, you know what to do. Love hearts in the chat straight away, just like David. Just like that. Great vid and lives. Keep it up. Thank you very much for the kind words. Very kind of you, mate. Really appreciate it. Guys, if you are new here, what we do when someone like donates or gifts a membership or anything like that is we turn the chat green. Love hearts, flame emojis, W's, everything. You'll see it going through the chat now. Get involved. Also, in terms of getting involved, I'm quickly going to pin the Discord server. David, thank you very much. At the top of the chat, you'll see a link to the Discord. Completely free to join. I am sure it's going to be popping this evening during the match. So make sure you get involved. Make sure you get involved. Look at that. The chat is beautiful. Make sure to say thank you as well. It's legendary stuff. Anyway, what do we need to move on to? Should we look at Palace moving the ball from the back? We covered this yesterday, but for those of you that weren't here, we'll quickly go over it again. So this is all about, can United press high? Can we get high, squeeze high, put pressure on the ball, stop the opposition playing out from the back? That's the question. Because I think a lot of teams want to play in that way, and I think fans want their team to play in that way. Now, you might think on paper, if we look at this Palace team, that they're going to play in a back 3, because they've got 3 centre-backs like this, 2 wing-backs. You would assume, from the back, they play with the back 3 like that. However, what they've been doing so far early in the season is actually from goal kicks, they shift to more of a back 4. Now, that might be changed in this game. It might be altered. I've just thought of something, which I'm going to come on to, by the way. Something has just hit me that Palace might have been very clever with here. Okay, we'll come on to that. So normally they play Nathaniel Klein here, who is naturally a right back. But what I'll do, therefore, is actually split into a back 4 on the ball on goal kicks. So you can see it here, right? This is technically their right centre-back. In this game, it's Nathaniel Klein. But he's actually playing more like a right-back. So on the ball, it gives them, if we move it along here, that back four structure. So they look like they're a back three, but they're not actually. It's more of a back four. You can see it here as well. They've then got the two in midfield. So what can you do against this back four shape? This is really interesting, by the way, because something has hit me here, which we need to discuss. I don't know if anyone's clocked it yet on Twitter. We'll see. But anyway, in terms of how you can actually hurt Palace here, force them to one side. If you use your striker positioning nicely, you can force Palace to play on one side of the pitch. You can force them to play in this direction over here. Now, when Palace are forced into these situations, they struggle a little bit. You can lock them on. And you can see with this red line here, this is the pass that he can't play. Because there's Chelsea players everywhere, he can't play backwards. So instead what he has to do is turn the ball round the corner forward. He has to turn it into a forward area. It's a bit of an optimistic pass, a little bit audacious. This is where, if you are aggressive with the positioning of your centre-backs, this could be De Ligt. It could be a full-back as well, to be fair. But if you are aggressive in these areas, this is where you can go win it. And this is where you can hurt Palace. Something happens again here. Locking them on, forcing them to play this hopeful ball forward round the corner. Be aggressive, win the ball high, Palace can't move forward. So United could try some sort of high press in this game where perhaps we force them to one side and then go from there. We could try that because it happens down the other side here as well. You can see it again. Chelsea have forced them one way, they're then man-to-man, and it forces the long ball from Crystal Palace. And Chelsea overturn it again in the middle of the park. You can imagine Lisandro Martinez trying to play this sort of role, stepping in, being aggressive, and then you can attack them, you can get at them, and you can hurt them. United could do that. Now, to do that, the nice thing is, United don't necessarily have to go with the craziest, most intense, aggressive high press you've ever seen. We don't have to do that. What we could do instead is actually initially set up in more of a 4-4-2 block. We could set up in more of a 4-4-2 block, wait for them to make the decision of going one way. So initially we're kind of blocking these passes into the double pivot. Then once they commit one way, that's when we can go and get them. Force them to one side, lock them on, and do what we just saw Chelsea doing. That's something that United could do. I believe, though, I just saw a donation in the chat. I did. Mr. Rowe with the $5 donation. Thank you very much, sir. Very kind of you. Guys, you know what to do. Love hearts in the chat. A couple of you have done it already, but we need some more. Get some love hearts in the chat. For Mr. Rowe, thank you very much, mate. Greatly appreciated. Hope you're enjoying the stream. Hope you're enjoying it. Anyway, there's something we need to come on to quickly. Because something has struck me with this 11. Crystal Palace may not be a back three at all. I might be off of this. They may not be a back three at all. Hear me out. This guy can play right back. Okay. Crystal Palace have experimented with a 4-2-2 towards the end of certain games. Let me know if anyone's picked up on this on Twitter yet. We might be the first to it. We'll see. Crystal Palace have often switched to a 4-2-2 in the latter stages of games. They've done it against Leicester last weekend. They want the goal. They want to chase the game. So they switched to the 4-2-2. This 11 could actually do that, right? Because I don't believe Kamada is naturally a player that you put in a double pivot. I believe he's a little more advanced than that. I believe he wants to play here a little bit more. There's very clearly a two that could be two strikers. And I want to go to Richards here. He played games in midfield last season. I'm sure of it. I might be off with that. I'm sure he played games in midfield last year. If not, like Valzer has said as well, Guehi also played there towards the end of the season. We might be off with that, but it could be Richards in midfield, or Guehi. It could be. Maybe that's completely wrong. Maybe we're overthinking this. They could be 4-2-2. That could be something that they look to do. Now, in terms of out of possession for United, that actually shouldn't change too much because Palace kind of shifted the shape anyway. On the ball, certainly in a deeper phase. That is something to watch out for in this game. And it's an interesting challenge for Ten Hag because it makes it difficult to set up for it. If you don't know if they're back three or back four, that does change the way you approach the game a little bit. So keep an eye on that. Has anyone said anything on Twitter about this? Be interesting to have a look. I personally haven't seen anything. This won't leave Bruno too much room. Well, actually, if they do go for this shape, when they lose the ball, it could actually give Bruno more room because there isn't naturally a player who is holding his position. If it was against a back three, one of the centre-backs could be aggressive onto him. If it was against a midfield three, one of the midfielders naturally picks him up. If they are actually a double pivot like this, first of all, I would imagine they'll be aggressive and intense in the high press if they're this shape. But Bruno almost doesn't actually naturally have a player man marking him. That's interesting. I said we might be way off with this. I might be overthinking this whole situation. They might not be doing this at all. But it's something to keep an eye on. Look at the subs flying in, by the way. Love that from you guys. If you are new here, welcome. I hope you enjoy it. Hope you enjoy your stay. If you are here and you haven't subscribed, if you please could, it'd be amazing. We're trying to hit 34,000 by the end of the month. I mean, we should get there. We're doing well at the moment. But if you want to help out, it would be great. It would be great. AJ, would Zirkzee's movement cause problems to Palace? It definitely could. It definitely could. Now, this is the problem here, where we're talking about Palace has been made a little bit more difficult by the fact that we don't know what shape they're going to go for. I done all my prep work on a back three. So if they now rock up with a back four, that could throw things out a little bit. Now, what I'll quickly do, I'll quickly put them back in the back three. Because it is the shape they normally go for. So we'll put them there for now. Just so we can quickly talk about Zirkzee and how he could affect this game. Alright, so what we've spoken about earlier in the stream, and we spoke about it yesterday as well, is when you pull the ball one side, this is if Palace are 3-4-3, which they may not be. But if you pull them one side, when they are passive, or you can beat a man, you can work a ball to the far side. You've got space down this far side, you can step forward. It's now about attacking that space. Again, those of you that were here yesterday would have seen this, but I quickly want to recap it. Because Zirkzee is important here. You see, what Nicholas Jackson done against Crystal Palace for Chelsea was he done a really nice job of kind of just floating between these two guys. And he's stopping, if we select it, he's stopping this centre-back from joining over here. Because Jackson is there, he's just on his back, he can't close this space over here. So what happens is, as Chelsea move the ball forward, they're going to work the ball down the left. You can see Jackson in the middle, still over here. He's still occupying that centre-back. And what that means is that the centre-back can't get over here and help out. He's never going to be able to get over here because he's too focused on Mr. Striker. Now what happens as a result is the ball eventually gets put into a channel, into that space behind there. And again, still, he can't come out and help because he's tied up here. He can't come out and help. And as a result, Chelsea do actually get into a really nice position. And again, if you think about what United have been doing in recent weeks, in pre-season last season, the 1v1s out wide, the 2v2s. We saw Garnacho really using the underlapping run well in midweek. He done a really nice job of finding players in these positions. This is an area where United could hurt Palace, because that is a nice space to attack. You can kind of see it on the other side as well. We'll quickly cover it. Jackson here, occupying centre-backs. So when the ball eventually gets switched, the centre-backs can't really help out. You can see it here. He's tied up in the middle. And eventually Chelsea are going to put another ball into that underlapping run, in towards the final third. And now he's got a position where if he can beat his man, which he does on this occasion, kind of just about, you can get into a nice position. You can get into a nice position. So we could hurt Palace in that way. Like I said, the problem is, we have just had a huge spanner thrown in the works that they might be a 4-2-2. That they could be a 4-2-2. And that shakes things up. Should we... I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to do something a little bit different right now. Let's live together. I want your guys' help here. Let's try and figure out if Palace are 4-2-2, how they're going to try and press us. Because it is a pressing formation. It's a formation associated with the Red Bull clubs. They play high-pressing football. I believe Glasner had a spell with a Red Bull club as an assistant coach at one point. Something like that. So we could go for the high press. Let's figure this out together live, what that looks like for United. What it looks like. Now, I would suggest that this second line of two here probably starts narrow. And what they do, again, we're doing this off the top of our heads here. Apologies if I'm wrong. I would imagine they set up in this narrow shape initially, so that when we have the ball in these deeper positions, or we can't find our midfielders, we can't find Kobe, we can't find Eriksen. How can United exploit that? One option could be splitting our centre-backs incredibly wide, because it widens the block from Palace. Then we can go inside the pitch. But that's risky. That's really risky, because they have a lot of players that can close you down immediately. So that could actually be a problem for United. Is there a way we could use Onana in a back four, perhaps? Let's have a look at how this would work. How would that match up naturally with a 3-2? Let's do that. Let's put them back like this. Let's say we're on the ball here, trying to play up from the back. Could we use Onana as part of a back four like so? Potentially. Potentially. Because you could work some sort of 2v1 here. Or Nketiah is going to drop off and you give Onana a bit more time on the ball. You also have to commit to a deep 2 when splitting the centre-backs. Yeah, 100%. If your centre-backs are moving out, you need 2 midfielders in front protecting. Will Eriksen do that? I'm not sure. So that's something, again, which we have to watch out for. Again, another option, though, could be Eriksen manipulating the block by pulling outside of it. Because who follows him? Or does anyone follow him? If Kamada's going to go follow him, then it's going to open up space in here for someone like Dalot to move into, potentially. But naturally, he's kind of Wharton's man as well. Could we drag Wharton? Then you're making room for Bruno. Interesting. It's really interesting to look at. One of the fullbacks tucking in, or one of the midfielders dropping into a back 3. Again, it's not a bad shout at all. Let's quickly get these players back in position. Again, we're doing this off the dome, so we'll see how it goes. If you were to move into a back 3, again, it does give you the opportunity to widen that narrow 2. Particularly if your players outside of the 3 are willing to be aggressive. If these guys are willing to be aggressive with their movement on the ball. Is there a way that you could do this? Am I missing a player? Kind of. I tell you what, if they're 4-2-2, Zirkzee could be really handy for this game. If we can, let's say it's this way, whatever. If we can try and get that box in midfield at times, which we do on occasion. If we can pull outside and therefore stretch the midfield a little bit, Zirkzee then coming into these areas could be really handy. Now, obviously, you would expect their centre-backs to be aggressive, at least one of them to follow him. But that could make space. That is something that United could look towards in this game. Zirkzee could be very handy. Keep an eye on that. Again, especially if Palace are this 4-2-2 shape. Zirkzee being that spare man could be useful. To do that, you have to go wide first. I think we would struggle going straight through the middle, straight through the heart. I think you probably have to move a little bit wider. Can you go up here? Up, back, through? Up, back, through? Maybe. Something to look at. Who's the easiest to turn, do you reckon? Because you could kind of feed it into Kobe while he's sticking to that man. See, it depends on what way they set up. You see, Wharton is reasonably decent defensively. He's not had the best start to the season off the ball, but he's still reasonably decent. But he is quite a heavy left-footed tackler. So I think if you had Kobe inside, you'd be better off turning outside. I think if you turn inside, you actually turn towards Wharton's stronger defensive foot, which is here. I think if you start spinning him out these areas, you could have a little bit more success, certainly. Also, Richards, just the fact that naturally he isn't a midfielder, is perhaps someone that may not want to fully go aggressive and go after you, so maybe you can turn in those spaces. Possibly, something to look at. Yeah, Palace aren't very good. I mean, it's to the point, it's quite blunt, but the league form isn't there. Look at them. 2 losses, 2 draws. -3 goal difference. They make us look good. Yeah, the form has been poor. But ultimately, right, we done a stream before the start of the season. And I think most people in the chat had Crystal Palace finishing in the top 10. And there's a reason for that. Because they've got a really nice squad. They've got a really good team. If we actually just go through and look at some of the personnel here, there's some great players in there. Eze is a phenomenal footballer. Mateta at the moment, you know, the last 6 months, quality on form. I actually really like Nketiah. I think he's a lovely little player. Really like him. Wharton, we know the quality. The defence has got some really nice players in there as well. I'm looking forward to this game because I think there should be a lot of quality on display. Yeah, we lost 4-0 last season, right? It's a very different team that we went there with, but, you know, we've proven that they're half decent at football, right? If they are with a 4-2-2, that might be an attempt from them to smother our midfield. But in that case, playing it long to Zirkzee, I back him to win aerially against any of their midfield or Guehi. Does anyone know how good Lacroix is in the air? I personally don't. Guehi, I think, is stronger in the air than you perhaps think. I think Zirkzee, if you're going into his chest or his feet, you can use his hold-up play. I think if you're going into his head a lot, I think you're going to struggle a little bit. Yeah, I think Zirkzee might hold the key to this. I thought there was a real argument for starting Rashford up front in this game, and I never normally suggest that. But I thought that there was a way you could get at Palace if you played Rashford centrally. But with how Palace have put their lineup out, and the fact that it could be this 3-2, I think Zirkzee could suddenly become very useful for us. And I think it puts a big emphasis on Kobbie as well. I think it maybe makes it a long day for Eriksen. 59% aerial success rate for Lacroix for the last 365 days. So it's not elite, but it's far from like horrendous either. It's an interesting one. 4.2 attempted per 90 minutes, so he's not afraid of it. I never thought Ugarte would start. Yeah, it's a weird one for Ugarte. I hoped he would. I felt that he was the right player for it. But obviously we don't know physically and mentally where he's at after the transfer. He didn't have a pre-season. We've got to build the minutes into him, so I understand not playing him. I think he'll get on the pitch for sure, though, which could be useful in the second half. That's what we need to discuss, by the way. We need to quickly mention this. Of course, the big news here is no Ugarte and no Rashford. Can you think of a better player to come onto a pitch? Or maybe not a better player, a better profile of a footballer. Pace, power, ball carrying, ball striking ability. If this game opens up in the second half, which it might do, a lot of matches do. I'm not saying it definitely will, but a lot do. If it opens up a little bit, you can't get much better than Rashford from the bench as an impact, or potential impact, right? That's handy. If this game does get stretched late on and they're fatiguing, you get that lad on the pitch. He can hurt people. He could hurt people. He certainly could. We need a result because of the scores in some of the other games. Yeah, Chelsea won earlier and looked actually pretty decent, although they didn't blow me away still. What's the Liverpool score? It's 3-0 last I saw. Is it still that? If so, can Salah do something for my fantasy, please? Newcastle drop points. Hurt people, hurt people. Damn, that's facts. Rashford would love some minutes this game. Yeah, I think he gets on. Was Højlund on the bench? That is a great question. That was a great question. Is Højlund on the bench? Because he's another one where if this opens up, he is. Mount is as well. Let's go through that real quick, by the way. The bench. We've got Bayindir, we've got Johnny Evans, we've got Harry Maguire. I just love Maguire. Don't know why I said that. We've got Casemiro, we've got Ugarte, we've got Mason Mount. So straight away, there's 3 midfielders there that you can bring on. Casemiro, Ugarte, Mason Mount. 3 midfielders that you can bring on from the bench. That's handy. You've then got Anthony and Rashford. So you've got 2 wingers. 2 wingers. But you've also got Højlund. So Højlund and Rashford, again, there's actually 2 striker options because Rashford could play there. That's a lot of threat from the bench. If you think back end of last season, you guys that were here will know, I said it the other day, we done so many streams last season around March, April time, where we were desperately trying to find 11 players that we could put on the pitch to come up with a tactic. It was ropes, right? We were in the trenches. The bench now, you know, the fact that we've got a strong 11 there today, I would say. It's not perfect, but it's strong. The fact that you can bring Højlund onto that, you can bring Anthony onto that, you can bring Rashford, you can bring Mount, you can bring Casemiro, Ugarte. There's some difference makers there. There's some difference makers. Apparently Rashford is just rotation. Hopefully it keeps him fresh. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if then Europa League midweek, Garnacho comes out and we see Rashford Ahmad playing. And then perhaps after that Ahmad comes out and it's Rashford Garnacho. I wouldn't be surprised at all. I wouldn't be surprised. Højlund gives me confidence if things are getting sticky. Again, if the game opens up, let's say we get into a game state. Let's think really positively here, really optimistic. Let's say United are 2-0 up, right? And Palace are pushing forward. They want a goal. The in-behind threat of Rashford and Højlund from the bench could be useful. Now, is Højlund ready is the real question. I don't think we should rush him back at all. We have to protect him. But if he's ready to go for 15-20 minutes, there could be something. There could be something. Guys, I just realised there's 500 people here, by the way. That's insane. But Chad has just said, if you like the stream, Garnacho will score a hat-trick. Now, I can't guarantee that that will happen. It's not an absolute guarantee, but it's worth a try, right? Imagine you don't like the stream and then Garnacho doesn't score a hat-trick. It's basically your fault if he doesn't. If you like the stream, Garnacho might do it. And Shane says he'll guarantee it. So just go after Shane. So if you could like the stream, please. If we can get to like 250, we're looking at breaking records, I think, there. So if you could, that'd be amazing. You didn't know I stream. I stream 3 or 4 times a week on a good week. Sometimes I'm a little bit slack with the streams, but we're trying to get back on it at the moment. And we are with this amount of games. Normally it is 11 AM UK time on a weekday. And then sometimes I do these ones as well. Team news. We'll see. You like the bench a lot? Yeah, Kyle, me too, mate. Me too. Tottenham next week, by the way. Rashford Garner is actually who I think I'd play that game, so it might work out well. Yeah, again, that kind of like trio of rotation could be nice. Matt, good to see you, mate. How you doing? Imagine if Garnacho didn't score... Yeah, exactly. 5-5 hat-trick. It would literally be your fault. Leave a like. Leave a like. If you leave a like, I've heard it gives United a chance of winning. Like, an increased chance. Every like increases the chances of winning by 1%. I mean, at the moment, we're on a 236% chance of winning. So, yeah, whatever. I would like to see Ugarte start against Spurs if he gets minutes today. I would imagine we see Ugarte for the last 20 today. Maybe he then starts midweek and then starts again next weekend. That's building him into the team. Bit like what we've done with De Ligt. I could see that. Quick maths. Yeah, you know how we do. David with a donation. Thank you very much, sir. Guys, in the chat, love hearts. Say thank you to David. He's saying 500 plus views. Let's go for 34k, lads. I mean, the subs have gone up quite nicely during the stream. That seems to have been popping up fairly regularly. If we could hit 34k by the end of the weekend, that would be amazing. That'd be amazing. And we're on 250 likes. Legends. Absolute legends. David, thank you very much, mate. I do appreciate it. Is there anything else you want to discuss before we get into this? Before we finish this, is what I'm trying to say. Is there anything else you want to discuss? If not, we'll go get ready for kickoff. Is there anything you want to talk about? Everton dropped points again, did they actually? We're actually going to go get Branthwaite. Does the midfield have enough legs? Oh yeah, we need to do score predictions. Guys, be getting your score predictions in the chat. Does the midfield have enough legs? It depends on the type of game we create and the type of game that plays out. If we see chaotic end-to-end football, I'm kind of terrified of their front three against our midfield and carrying. We've got a problem. I think if we play a slower, more methodical game, we kind of dictate the tempo and control it a little bit, like we done in the second half against Southampton, then I think we'll be alright in terms of the physicality. I think we would be okay there. And then suddenly Eriksen's passing range is handy, you know, breaking teams down, it's handy. So the legs can be enough if we create the right type of game. If not, I think we're in trouble. Oh, Ian, good to see you, mate. How you doing? Lovely to have you back. Anyway, let's get through some of these predictions. I want to see some goal scorers as well. I'm seeing 3-0 United. Love it. 2-0, 3-0, 3-1. 2-0, but don't know which way. United, please. Chad saying 6-1. You know what? He's caught me off guard there. 1-0 first half. And then either 2-1 or 2-2 with late goals for drama. 2-1, please. 2-0 United. 3-1. Garnacho, Zirkzee and Rashford. You know me, I can't say Rashford's going to score. 7-0 United. Chad, you've been outdone, mate. David's backing up Chad's prediction. That might be the first time we've had 2 people say 6-1. So maybe it happens this week. De Ligt, Ahmad and Ugarte. I mean, yes, please. Fernandez cutback for a Zirkzee header. I would love to see that. I would love to see that. I've just realised like how off-centre the mic is. Has it been like that the whole time? That's really annoying. 3-0 United, but it'll look spicy for the first 40 minutes or so. Yeah, so that brings me on to my prediction. I'm going 2-0 United. I think the first 35 might be ropey. I got a feeling we're sitting there 35 minutes in going, this is a tense game. This is a little bit difficult. Maybe we need some changes. I think we then score just before half-time, which will be an absolute dream. 1-0 up at half-time. And then who gets the goal in the first half? I'm going to go Bruno gets the goal in the first half. And then second half, we're in a bit more control. Palace have the threat still on the break, but we're controlling the game a little bit more. we're going to see... So Bruno got the first. We're going to see Garnacho adds a second. Garnacho adds a second to go 2-0 up on around the 65th minute. And then after that, we make a couple of changes. Ugate's on that pitch, best believe. We shut up shop a little bit. We're not like fully defensive, park on the bus, but we kind of sit and break. Rashford's on the pitch at that point. That's what I'm going for. Bruno pen merchant is overdue, by the way. I've got a feeling Bruno's got a pen. I think Bruno scores from some form of set piece. It might be a corner worked to him on the edge and he scores. It might be a free kick, maybe a bit unlikely, or a penalty. I think Bruno's is a set piece, and then Garnacho is the other. For anyone wondering, I'm assuming Eriksen is starting due to the Palace low block. Yeah, Palace could set up in that way. They could go deep because we've seen them do it before. Before we leave, did anyone else, or has anyone seen on Twitter, if anyone else has spoken about the 4-2-2? Because if no one else has said it, either I'm a genius or I've completely overthought it. And it might just be a back three. That'll be interesting to see what way that goes. I just think that midfield too is fairly attacking considering who they're playing. I don't know. What's your opinion on Rashford not starting? I would have played him. I think he's a good option for us here. But, you know, rotation. We've got plenty of good players. We've got 3 really nice wingers at the moment. Only 2 can play at a time. He had to be dropped at some point, or he's not dropped is how I would say it, actually. He's rotated. The UPTV Discord says it's not the 4-2-2. It'll be interesting. I guess what's interesting about it actually also is they could switch it mid-game. That's what Val's was hinting at there. They've done that other games already this season. Leicester last week. Last 20-30 minutes they switch. It'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see. Now surely if it was the 4-2-2 they have other midfielders. Like Will Hughes would have played or something. Yeah, I reckon it's the back 3 then. I think Will Hughes would have played if not, if it was the 2-2. I reckon it's the back 3. And I think United can hurt that shape. Don't be terribly surprised if it's the 2-2. Sitting on the fence, but I think it's a back 3. I'd like to see how Wharton does. I reckon Cobby's going to absolutely destroy him, man. Going to bulldoze him. We're on 267 likes, by the way, which is insane. And the subs have been going up constantly. Is Højlund available? He is on the bench, as is Mason Mount. Do we have anything else to talk about? I think we've just about covered everything. That's the problem with doing a stream looking at the game yesterday. We've kind of covered everything already. And unless the lineups completely throw us off, then there's not much to talk about. Let's get to 300 likes. Can we do it? Can we do 29 likes before we leave? There's 140 of you here right now who haven't liked the stream. And Chad can actually see who hasn't liked the stream. And you don't want to get on the bad side of Chad, I tell you. He's quite a nasty man sometimes. I reckon you should leave a like. Because you don't want the wrath of Chad. It's a long day for you. You've liked? Thank you very much, mate. You're a legend if you have. Absolute legend. At least we have options on the bench this time around. Last year was shocking. Exactly. We've got players. We've got options. Hot chocolate stream soon? No. Yeah, if you don't like the stream, then your healthcare is Chad's. Like, you don't want that. You don't want that. Oh. Someone said they did not like. That's not very nice. Not very nice. I liked for the Garnacho hat-trick. Good thinking, Sir Hawk, mate. If he gets it, it's because of you. It's because of you. Anyway, I think we are just about finished there. I think we've covered everything we can for today. I think we know what we expect from this back 4 at the moment, from a United point of view. The midfield's a little bit of a surprise, but we've got the ball players in there. We need to keep the ball in this game. If it's a stretched game, we might struggle. That attack, I quite like it. It's a nice blend. We've got a couple of technical players there who are going to manage the tempo quite nicely in the final third, Zirkzee and Ahmad. We've got Bruno who can offer that bit of directness at times, and Garnacho as well. I like it. I like it. And we have reached over 300 likes, so thank you guys very much. 300 of you are safe from Chad. Congratulations. But some of you are not. Some of you are not. Beware. Anyway, we are finished there. So thank you guys very much for joining the stream. I hope you have enjoyed it. We had over 500 people at one point, which is insane. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you to everyone who has kind of sat there quietly, minding their own business. Not really saying much. Shout out you guys. I know you're there. Everyone in the chat as well. Absolute legends. The chat has been popping. We've had a few things to try and figure out, but you guys have helped with that. So shout out you guys. Of course, the 312 people that have liked, that's insane. The donations, absolute heroes. And did I say the likes? I meant to say the likes. But also, before you leave, check out the Discord. Check out the Discord. Get involved. Subscribe to the channel. We had a load of new subs as well. Shout out you guys. Shout out everyone. You're all legends. Hopefully, United go and give us a result. In terms of future content on the channel, we've got something a little bit different tonight, should this go right. If United win, I will do a reaction stream. No, that's a lie. A reaction video tonight. Like a immediate... I'll probably just be talking for like 8 or 9 minutes. Just my immediate thoughts on the game. And then tomorrow morning, I'll do a proper tactical breakdown of everything that happened. There is no thumbnail face incoming. Absolutely not. But yeah, that's what you got to look out for. So again, subscribe, notifications on. Hopefully you like it. 318 likes. Is that a record? We need 350 someday. We need 350 at some point. 350 likes would be insane. That's a goal for the future. That's a goal for the future. In terms of for today, we are finished with the stream. There'll be a video later. But thank you guys very much for watching. Enjoy the game. Hopefully United give us a game that we can enjoy. It's been great to catch up with some of you, but for now we're finished. So thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. And as always, I'll catch you guys. Where is it? In the next one.